Alright, so I'm going to try and make this video. My camera's behaving pretty strangely here with the battery situation, but I'm gonna do my best. I got a very kind comment, actually a message on Facebook about my previous wet bag tutorial, and the girl who wrote me asked if I might consider doing a tutorial with the PUL, the patterned PUL. So I'm going to try to do that. I don't use a lot of patterned PUL, mostly because like I'm kind of like a print fanatic, and there are just only so many choices in PUL, and I know there's sort of like online options and blah blah blah, but it's not always my preference, and it's not something that I work with a lot, so I hope you will bear with me while I try to do a project. So we're going to make essentially a similar wet bag to the one that's in my previous tutorial that has two pockets, a smaller front pocket and a larger main pocket. The front pocket is going to close with snaps, and the main pocket is going to close with a zipper. You can use any combination of closures that you want to use, and obviously I will go into that as we go along, but I chose two of the PUL pieces that I have. So we've got this cute pink and polka dots, and then this chevron, which seemed relatively inoffensive to me, so we'll go with those. So the first thing I'm going to do is decide what I want from which, and I think I'm going to make the main body of the bag in the pink and polka dot, and the front pocket in the chevron. So I'm going to cut that pink polka dot first, and let me shift the camera angle so you can see. I'm going to make this kind of a big one, but obviously you can tweak the measurements to your own preference. So I'm just going to shift the camera down here, and we'll start. Alright, so this is the main body of the bag, the PUL for that section. Since we do have the waterproofing on the inside, we don't need to create any kind of lining for this at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a double layer here on the fold at about 13 inches. And you could definitely pin this. It's probably, actually I think I will just throw like maybe 2 in here. I know people are really nervous about pinning PUL, and you know, I'm just not in that club. It doesn't upset me to have a pin in it. You can sort of remelt the fabric with a really low setting on your iron, or for a spin in the dryer. So I wouldn't stress out too much about the tiny little holes the pin's going to make. Unless you're filling this bag with water that you're hoping will stay there for 100 years, I wouldn't be worried about leaks through a pinhole. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to go 13 and a half inches. I'm just using this as a guide because that's where I have a previous cut on the fabric. So I'm just going to go straight down that with my little rotary cutter here. I love watching sewing tutorials from new sewers because I think we all have the same like little $40 kit from Joann's with our little rotary cutters and our little rulers. So fancy. So I've got that, and with PUL I do like to kind of have a hand on it because it's just so slippery. So then I'm just cutting straight across the bottom. This is going to be about 13 inches down here too. And there's a thunderstorm outside, so I apologize if that's worrisome for anybody, but I like it. And you're on my channel! So, there's the double folded, I should say double layered PUL. This is going to be the main body of the bag. Mine's all wrinkly, so sorry about that. And, oh, gee whiz, look at that. I'm going to slice a little bit off of there. That's no good. So then we're going to want to grab the piece for the front pocket, which for me is going to be this happy, springy sort of chevron. I will just make a little mark on my cutting mat. So I'm just going to make a little mark here so that I know how wide it was. I do that a lot. I don't, I don't mind it being there, but obviously you can just use your brain to remember, if you're more on top of it than I am, where that width is. And then I think I'm going to go up to about 11 inches or so with this, because we're going to have to fold down the raw edge so that it's not ugly. We're just going to have to fold down the raw edge. It's just going to have to be that way. So I'm lining up the cut edge here with the 13-inch mark. And then I'm going to go up to about 11, and I've got sort of a curve up here on my PUL in the cut, so just make sure that that one edge is straight, and then you can use your ruler, or you can grab a ruler and just mark it with a pencil and cut along that line. But you do want to make sure that this is pretty straight, because you're kind of just going to be eyeballing the turn in terms of turning over the hem. So you want it to be relatively straight. You don't want to have to worry too much about if it's wobbling. So there's that cut. And then I'm going to do the bottom one. The nice thing about these stripes too is you can tell if it's sort of, I mean, they're not the most reliable for stuff being dead on, but it's pretty reliable in terms of being able to look at it and go, oh, wait a minute, that line looks crooked. So then I'm going to turn the whole ruler around and trim the edge. And if you wanted your pattern to go in the other way, obviously you can just orient the fabric the opposite direction. But I thought this was cute. So the next thing we're going to do is finish this pocket. Since we don't need a lining, it's just going to be this up against the front side of the other PUL. But I do like to fold this over twice. So with a very, very low iron, I like to fold it over and then fold it over again. So I'm going to go ahead and press that and then come back. Okay, so I think that I just did all of that without recording, which is great. But I I ironed this here, folded once over and then again, and we're going to sew straight down the top of that seam and then straight down the bottom as well, so that on the right side we have a nice little double row of stitching. You're going to want to use a thread that you don't mind being seen, maybe something that matches your snap or zippers or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I've just stitched down this hem that we made, and the next thing I decided to do was to pick out my zipper and snaps in this cute happy green color. You're going to need 2 whole sets of snaps, but we won't put those on till the end because we want to make sure everything lines up the way we're planning. I'll leave that for later. And we're going to go ahead and sew the zipper onto the bag. Now, I thought about this for a minute. And we're really going to end up needing 2 separate sections of this main fabric, I guess you would call it, because because this is gonna have to get eaten up in the bottom hem. So, but what I would like is I would like for my bag to fold over. You can tell how much I planned for this. I would like my bag to fold over like this and have this come up here and then have this be right here like that. So it's like stripy across the front. So what that means is I'm going to have a funny, that the two sections of the outer PUL, the main color are going to be different. So what I'm going to do to make that easier on myself is I'm going to sew the zipper in first, get that out of the way, then decide how I want the placement, and then cut the bottom. So the first step to that whole thing is to sew in the zipper. So since we don't have a lining, all you need to do is lay your zipper down. Lay your fabric with the right side facing the top of the zipper. Scoot your sewing machine awkwardly towards you. Alright, so, and you know, I chose orange, which is totally not a thread that necessarily matches, but you know, it's still gonna be cute. So, with your fabric lined up right here to the edge of your zipper, you're gonna slide that right under your foot, put your foot down. You can obviously use a zipper foot if you want, and then you're going to straight stitch with your needle. On my machine it's a 0, but you're going to want your needle as close to the teeth of the zipper, so as far that way as you can get them. So on my machine, that's a 0 setting on a straight stitch. And also be aware that the PUL is stretchy, so I like to hold it taut towards me, not super tight, but tight enough that it stays together as I sew along. So we're going to do a little back stitch and then sew straight down this zipper. And you've got your zipper attached. Then you're just going to want to flip it so the zipper is facing upwards here, and put your foot back down on top of that fabric. Change your needle setting over that way so that you're closest to the teeth of the zipper, and top stitch that line. And then you're going to do the exact same thing with the other end of your PUL. So here's the zipper end, here's the other raw end. You're going to lay the tooth side of the zipper to the right side of the PUL, and you're going to do the exact same thing. You're just going to straight stitch to attach those two together with your needle close to the zipper teeth. So you're going to want to reorient it that way and straight stitch that on. I'm gonna do that first. There we go. Ah! Okay. So then you want to open up the zipper so that you can top stitch that line a little bit more easily. Just unzip it, and then just like you did before, lay, kind of open it up a little bit, lay your foot right against the teeth of your zipper. Make sure the PUL is a little bit more sort of stiff than, you know, something like a cotton, so you want to make sure it's laying it's laying underneath towards the inside of the bag, that you're not getting it twisted around, that it's laying nice and flat. So I like to just use my hand. Let me move the camera a 17th time. I like to just kind of lay my hand here, and that helps straighten out this curl that tends to happen with the bulkier sort of fabric. I changed my needle to a 1, so it's close to the teeth, and just top stitch right along there. Okay, so lots of things are going right in this project. Oh my goodness. I got the handle made accidentally off camera. So I just turned it, I top stitched both sides, and then I turned over the bottom end here and stitched it down. So now that we have all of the pieces, we are going to want to decide the orientation and the way the final bag is going to look. Since there's only a couple layers here, you don't have to be as, you know, precise and concerned because there's only a couple layers. So the first thing you're going to do is just kind of lay the bag out and see how you want it to look. I think I'm going to stick the handle up here, and we'll give it a snap so it can snap around things. And then, how much of my dirty floor can you see? Only a little bit, okay. I swear to, this month is really a challenging one, and I'm losing my wits a little bit. But once we decide how we want the outside of the bag to look, that's when we can cut this bottom fold here, because we're gonna need to stitch this into that hem. So I'm just going to put my scissors inside that fold with the bag in the position that I want it to end up in, and cut right down it. Now this layer of PUL hangs over the edge. It's not the worst thing in the world. You can sew it that way and then just trim it off at the end. But given today's record, I'm going to trim it off now because something tells me I'm not going to be ready for that at the end. It's gonna go wonky or something. This is going inside a hem, so it doesn't have to be the tidiest cut in the world as long as it's about the right line. So then you're going to turn your bag inside out, probably laying it with the zipper facing you is going to be the easiest way to get everything oriented. Your opening is down here at the bottom. Your fold over with the zipper is up here at the top. You're going to put this inside like this so that the wrong side is facing up and touching the right side of the outside of the bag. Just like that. So this is going to fold right down over top of it. And I would say go ahead and give this, try not to knock over the camera, give this a couple of pins, because the PUL is definitely going to want to shift, and you want to do what you can to prevent that, because we want it to be approximately straight lines here. And then I am going to put one in the, you can feel the thickness of that hem on the top of that pocket, and definitely want to stick a couple in there, just to make sure that that doesn't move too much. And I'll stick one down here at the corner. And then with the, let's stick one up here too, maybe two. See, it even isn't cooperating. Oh, just so needy. It's so needy. So then with your handle, that's going to have to go inside here. I think I want it on the same end as the zipper end, because if I was unzipping a bag, I would like to hold that handle and unzip it. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but I hope it does. So I'm going to pin that handle right, it's laying flat right inside here, because we're going to put a snap in there that's going to allow us to sort of open and close the handle, wrap it around something. So then you want to unzip your zipper so that you're going to have a place to turn the bag inside out. Maybe I should give myself a little more space than that. Probably so. And then I'm going to pin the zipper in place. Try not to panic about the PUL pins. I'm telling you, it's not a big deal. And it's so much easier than having everything move all over the place on you. Okay, so now that that's all pinned in place, we're literally just going to straight stitch right around all the way these three sides. No need to stitch the top. It's folded. You don't have to stitch it. So I'm going to do that and come right back. Okay, so that was one of the messier jobs I've ever done, but you end up with this seam all the way around. And what we're going to do to finish it, instead of worrying about folding it and all that stuff, I'm just going to use a pair of pinking shears to trim off the excess all around the hem. Now, is this a bag that you can fill with water from a river and carry through the Sahara with you? No, it's gonna leak. But can you put soiled pads or diapers in here and wash them when you get home? Yeah, of course you can. If you're filling this with liquids, you know, yes, there's the potential for it to leak. But if you're, you know, just storing soiled wipes or pads or whatever, there's not enough liquid in those items for it to really ooze out any of the seams. So, yeah, I'm just like on my little lecture bandwagon here, but don't stress out too much about the idea of it leaking. It's just, you know, a temporary situation. You're not carrying your, you know, like deionized water in it or whatever. So I'm going to give the corners a little bit of a trim. I don't want too much because I don't want any holes in anything. And then you're going to see inside, hopefully, the pocket. That's going to be on the front of the bag. So you're going to want to grab inside and flip it all right side out. Poke out the corners. Like with, you know, anything made with this kind of material, it's not going to have real sharp, crisp, pointy, perfect 90-degree angle corners. But you do want to get them just sort of, you know, looking like corners. Poke the top the right way out. And you could stop there if you wanted. Okay, so now that this is all turned, we're gonna just place the snaps rather. So I'm gonna call it 3 inches in from each side, approximately. And I'm just gonna mark that with a little dot. And then depending on the kind of snap pliers or press that you use, and how many of those pieces you've lost, you are just gonna place the 2 outside snaps here. What I typically do is kind of press it through, and then I lost my little awl thing, my little pokey thing. So I typically just kind of snip it away right there until that little shaft of the snap comes through, and then I'm gonna place the like male side of the snap on there. That way, let me just press it in. So that way when that snap is on there, because it's that sort of poking outside, you can just kind of like press it in, and you'll see faintly a little circle on the on the layer underneath, and that will help you place that other snap, the back side of it, which you will need to open the bag in order to do. So it's a little ring right there, and just press that through. Obviously use your whatever appropriate tools, and then put the opposite side of the snap and press that one in place too. So you're going to do that there, and then we're going to do it there, and then you're going to do it as well to the handle. So you'll have one snap sort of here, and then the back half on the other side of the handle, so you can open that, hook it around a rod or curtain thing or towel bar or whatever it is. So I'm going to go ahead and set the rest of those snaps and be right back. Alright, so once you've broken 3 snaps, reset them, and changed your mind a couple of times, you will be totally finished with your new wet bag. So we've got a pocket here in the front that snaps open, that you can store, you know, anything, anything. And then our big zippered section where you can store any soiled items. The whole thing is going to be sort of leak proof. People like to call it waterproof, which technically it sort of is, but you know, obviously it's for soiled personal items, not for, you know, backpacking or whatever with actual water, but it's definitely going to resist any leaks or whatever throughout the day as you're trying to transport your items to washing. And then we've got this nice little strap that snaps closed so that you can hang it in your bathroom, or you know, in a hotel or whatever if you're traveling or wherever. Even in a car seat, the back of a car seat or something like that. So there it is. It only took me 2 days to film this, and I appreciated the challenge. Yeah, so thanks very much. I hope it was enjoyable or informative, and leave me some suggestions if there's anything you guys want to see next. Thank you very, very much for watching. I love you very much. Bye.